Okay guys, hey, welcome to another edition of Cultivating Creation. I'm your host Evan Akins, and hey, we're out on the power line plot again today, and today is the middle of April, and we're beginning to work on growing season or summertime food plots. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I like to plant this power line in a summertime food plot. And so we've actually begun that process today. We didn't sow any seed, we didn't sow any fertilizer, but today we did some pre-emergent herbicide application. Specifically, came in today and sprayed the plot with a clethodim. And so that is a grass specific herbicide, and I want to show you some things while I'm talking about that. Let's look. You can see the power line, and it is grassy. And this is probably from years and years and years of them coming through and mowing. But if you look, we still got some good soil that's not covered in grass. And I'm gonna zoom in for you here. This is clover. You can see the white blooms there, specifically a white clover. And there's some of this clover scattered out throughout the power line. And you know, I don't know if it's some I planted or some other folks have planted through the years or what. Basically, I ain't arguing about it. I'm just glad it's here. And so today I sprayed. You can see my little four-wheeler tracks there, and had my little boom on. And the hope is we'll kill all this grass in 10 days to 2 weeks, and then I'll come back and sow right on top of the ground a deer vetch. And deer vetch is tiny seed. And so when I started this, I tilled everything up, but I got to thinking, if a fella would come right before rain and sow it right on top of the ground and fertilize it, you know, I think we're gonna do pretty good. And so, of course, you know, I'll show you. But I guess the main thing is killing this grass both before and after. So I want to show you how I've been doing that. It's, of course, my little side-by-side, but Tractor Supply, I don't know if that's good or not, but I bought this little 45-gallon Femco with a boom. And I'm telling you, of course it hooks up to the battery. That dude will spray a swath about 15, 16 feet. And you just go 5 or 6 miles an hour. If I see 7 on the speedometer or 8, I slow down, but it does pretty good. It's on a little pump, and it has a little hand sprayer too. So that's what I did today. Like I said, I think the exact date is April 11th, 2026. And so this is what it looked like before. I'll try to come back and show you what it looked like after the clethodim pre-emergent application. Hey, we're back again. We're 6 days later. I don't know how much you can tell, but the herbicides are beginning to work. We probably could have waited a little longer. You can see some of that grass beginning to yellow, but more than looking at the grass, look at the sky. And that's why we're here. We got rain supposedly coming in. So here we are on April the 16th. We're gonna give it a go. We're gonna put the seed in the ground today. I'm gonna show you what we're doing. But before we get going, I did want to say I recognize that this is grassy. Got a lot of weeds in it. But I'm trying to show you here, I'm looking around, show you the reason why I'm planting in the grass weeds, because I'm okay with it. I walked through here the other day and I saw a lot of this the deer have been browsing on, and I'm trying to find one real quick I can show you, but of course when I'm looking I can't find it. Let me look down here. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Let's see this right here. Let's see if you can see this. Can you see this right here? There it is. Can you see that? I'll be honest with you, I don't know what this little plant is. But whatever it is, the deer seem to be eating it. And so, look down in here. You see this? See the soil right there? I got the soil right here. So we're gonna have good seed to soil contact. See, this old grass is dying. So I guess what I'm saying is we're gonna plant it grassy. Now that clethodim we sprayed 6 days ago, it's still gonna continue to work. But here's another little patch here. See that? That's all clover. We want to keep that. Some more patches here. It's all clover. We want to keep that. So, hey, we're gonna plant it grassy. And I'll tell you what I was thinking. Thinking about this little plot, and we got a little plot we're doing in Pike County. We're gonna do a comparison and contrast. I looked at it in Pike County, and there was no, at least what I could identify, no good grass, no good weeds growing up. And so I tilled it under. So think about this now. Think Pike County, we got a fresh seed bed, grass, no grass. Pike County, no grass, no weeds, just dirt. And we're gonna start from dirt, and we're gonna do the same thing we're doing today. Fertilize, oh well, and seed. I'm about to show you that. But here, we got a pretty grassy little field. I keep saying grass, it ain't grass, it's weeds. And we're gonna sow right on top of it. And the idea is that later throughout the summer, we do a comparison and contrast to see which does better. Which the deer utilize better. That we've taken time to turn under and then sowed fresh, or that we've got various weeds in, and that see how it comes up. So Pike County, we're gonna start from dirt, sow in fresh deer vetch, fertilize, watch it. Jasper County, we got some weeds, we're still gonna sow on top of, fertilize, and watch it. And you know me, I'm gonna show you. So here we are in Jasper County. This is what we're working with today. I got my hopper full on my little buggy. You see all the fertilizer that we got, 6 sacks. Here it is, Alt 2020. Now why Alt 2020? Deer vetch is legume. So from last year, the legume, the deer vetch that I planted should have put nitrogen in the ground. But also, the deer vetch that I'm planting this year should put nitrogen in the ground. So we shouldn't need any of that first number. So, you know, like the old triple 13. Shouldn't need any 13 on the first number. Should need 0. That's what we got. 0 is going to inhibit grass from growing. And if you remember me saying, deer vetch is a slow starter. So we don't need the grass growing, and the deer vetch is really slow. So, I'm gonna walk around before I trip over this trailer on video. Wouldn't that be funny? Maybe that'd be the comic relief. All right, let's see. So we're gonna fertilize, and then we're gonna come back with this seed. And I'm trying to see, where is it? There it is. Look how tiny. Look how tiny that seed is. Tiny. We're gonna put it right on top of the ground. And the hope is that it'll rain and beat it in the ground and it'll do good. But deer vetch is basically a weed, so we're just helping the weed grow. Oh, I can't say too much, but look, it's an expensive weed. That's about $100 worth. I hope my wife's not watching. That's about $100 worth. And that's what we're gonna plant in. That's what we're gonna plant in Jasper County. And then we got this little half a sack, a couple $100 worth. We're gonna plant in Pike County. But I'm gonna tell you this, we paid it, because here we are, we're in middle of April, and it'll come up about the end of April. It's gonna grow all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August, all of September, and then most of October. We might get early frost, probably not, and then maybe if not into November before the first frost comes and gets it. So May, June, July, August, September, October, 5, 6, maybe 7 months of growth. I'm gonna say it's worth it. Depending on how it establishes itself, I'm gonna say it's worth paying that little bit of money. Now, again, slow starter, so I'm gonna need to come back end of April, 1st of May, and spray another round of clethodim over it, and maybe into June, spray another clethodim over it, and just watch it. You know, I'll post it here. So this is the before planting day. This is the plan, April 16th. Just wrapping up here, and I thought a couple more things I'd say before we finish the before portion of this video. One, you saw my seed vetch that I was planting by hand, right? And Dr. Grant Woods, and I was thinking of this as I was sowing it, and his gang have a real good tip. Their suggestion, and I tried it this time, is to run one, north and south, and one east and west, to zigzag, to sow one way, north and south, say, and then come back and sow the same seed, the same time, just this time, east and west, zigzag. And I tried that this time. We'll see. If you remember from last time, we had pretty defined rows going up and down, and had some blank spots in the middle. So I hope the zigzag will help that out. Double the rate. So we got a lot of grass here. You're gonna have a lot of competition. So if you're not drilling it or disking it, you know, the old techniques that they're saying these days. So basically what this is, double the rate, which that's tough on expensive seed, but we did about double the rate. And I showed you my 2 buckets, and I used about 1.5 buckets. So I poured the other half a bucket back into the sack, take all that to Pike County, see what they got left. If there's any of this thing left, I may put it in the freezer for next year, or I could try to sell it to some guys who don't need a full sack. So zigzagged, and then I came back with my side-by-side and spreader and just rode over top of the seed. And the thought is maybe some of the tires push some seed down, whatever. It all needed fertilized, had plenty of fertilizer. So, and this was the other thing I was gonna say. So double the rate and zigzag on the seed. That's kind of the first thought. The second thought is, you know, I did May, June, July, August, September, October. Well, if you know anything about these 2 months in Mississippi, last year's season, I had a 3.5-year-old 8-point that had 10-inch G2s and 9-inch G3s on one side. He had a 10-inch G2 and like a 4-inch G3 on the other side. And that joker came out, creekside plot, running around, rutting, just awesome. Just what you'd want to see. My daughter and I were in the stand there, and we just had the best hunt. Well, I got a picture of him in February, so that means he made it through the season. Now, if he don't get run over by a doggone car, we are next to the interstate, and if he makes it to September, October, I think I've got a really good chance of sticking an arrow in him here on Powerline. That's the hope anyway. That's why we're doing all this. We'll see if this hope comes true. So double the rate, zigzag, and pick your spot out for your velvet hunt or 1st of October. They'll be hammering this in September, October. So. Okay guys, hey, here we are, Pike County, and I'm gonna tell you, you couldn't have any different of a seed bed. I mean, you look at this, and boy, it's just ideal seed bed. And what I did is I came down here a couple weeks ago and I sprayed with a glyphosate, waited a couple days, and then I disked it under. And I mean, we've got wonderful, wonderful seed to soil contact. Let me show you a couple things. So just a little closer look. We're sitting on about an acre here. You may remember the video from this time last year. We tried this same little area, a little field, right beside our cow field, hay field. But here's what makes the difference. Having access to a tractor. So we came down here a couple weeks ago with a tractor and a disc and disked it all under. And today, you see what's left of my deer vetch from Jasper County. And here we go with our Alt 2020. And as soon as I get through videoing, I'm gonna spread Alt 2020. And then you see my little bucket here, and put that tiny seed, and a little bit of it spilled out. Put that tiny seed in that bucket, and I'm gonna sow it by hand. And remember, we talked about zigzagging. So one time we'll do this way, and then one time I'm gonna do this way. And we should have plenty of seed. So again, we're comparing the plot, seeing how they do based on the seed bed preparation. The last one was mighty grassy, or probably better said weedy, there in Jasper County. And here we are in Pike County with it. Really good, very well prepared seed bed. By the way, I'm not going to disc the deer vetch seed in the ground. I'm just gonna sow it on top of the ground and let the rain take care of it. So that's the same on both of them. Just sow both of them right on top of the ground. So we'll see. Stay tuned for the after. A little bonus action for you today. Same day I was out planting my deer vetch here in Pike County, and you'll notice I opened up another little patch. And I did this again 2 weeks ago. Came in with glyphosate, sprayed the area, and came back with my disc and disked everything up, and you can tell it's done exceptionally well. And what we're looking at is actually the old loading dock. If you look behind us, you can tell these pine trees have been thinned once, and I tell you, I love running the fire through them, and it's just been a great piece to manage. But we always had this old loading dock here, and I never knew what to do with it. And I like to use, like right now, I got a south wind blowing in my back. I like to use this as negative terrain, so I didn't want to plant a crop that the deer would like. So in other words, I don't want the deer here. And besides, I'm gonna show you, it's right beside my neighbor's house through the tree line. Hold on just a second. That's near about perfect time with the wind. It's still recording. Look through here. I think you can kind of see there, kind of through the woods, my neighbor's place, and we're right in front of the old barn. Oh boy, the old barn's having a tough time. It's where I keep things during the off season. But anyway, I had this little patch, and if you look right in here, this area, this area, we were about to lose it. And this that's tilled in here, all this looked just about like that. And I said, boy, if we don't get in there and do something with it, we're gonna lose it. Anyway, all that said, I thought to myself, you know, a fella might could plant some Chuffa in here and attract a turkey and kind of keep that open space at the same time. So that's what we're doing today. Again, you see the tractor, and I've already spread my 5 sacks of triple 13. Let me show you this Chuffa seed. If I can't get it down here. A little bit bigger seed. And they say, I planted it before but never did any good with it because I didn't know what I was doing with post-emergent. But they say that it's like a peanut, that the turkeys, when they find it, will scratch it like a peanut. And it makes all kinds of tubers, and apparently the turkey love it. As a matter of fact, old time turkeys say Chuffa is cheating. Let me tell you about cheating. We have had turkeys in here in the fall, and inevitably they find someplace else to go in the spring. So this time next year, hopefully the turkeys will stay around. And hey, if it's cheating, it's cheating, but it's legal, so I don't guess it's cheating. But anyway, I'm about to spread this and see. I'll do some updates through the summer as we go. And the thought is, I'm down here putting post-emergent on my deer vetch. I can put post-emergent on my Chuffa. So we'll see. Hey, you hear on time to time on this channel, try it. You know, you got a place, you want to try something, try it. Experiment with it. See what happens. Well, that's what we're doing today with the Chuffa. Trying out a little Chuffa in this patch. A couple things I forgot to mention in the first video, as I sometimes do. Chuffa, unlike deer vetch, requires triple 13. It does require the nitrogen. So I had to buy a little bit different fertilizer, a little bit more expensive with the nitrogen. 5 sacks, but we got plenty on this one. So triple 13, and you saw it was a bigger seed. So my last pass, I went and got the disc, and I disc it under. Remember, deer vetch now, it's just so tiny, I laid it on top of the ground. But this Chuffa, I disc it under. So, like I said, we're trying it. We'll see how it does. Today is April 21st, so we shall see. Okay, guys. Hey, what'd you think about those videos? We are in the thick of things over on cultivating creation, preparing for next deer season. Summer food plots, you know, most of the time you don't hunt over them. Maybe you do a little towards the end, but velvet season and first frost unto first frost, but not really the main, boy, they say kill plots, but really just preparation. And so you know, as I was thinking about a devotional to end our time with, that word kept resonating through my mind: preparation, preparation. And when in the Bible do we see an emphasis on preparation? And I believe the Lord led me to Joshua, Joshua chapter 3 and in verse 5. I'll share just a couple verses with you, but in Joshua, you may remember the story. Joshua is leading the sons of Israel to overtake the promised land, to inhabit, to take the promised land. Of course, you may remember the old song we sung in Sunday school, Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. And so I want to read two verses with you and talk about them for just a minute. So Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. And then Joshua said to the people, consecrate yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. Now Joshua 5, let's see, 3 and 4. Joshua 5, 3 and 4. And so Joshua made himself knives and circumcised all the sons of Israel at Gibeath Harloth. I believe that's how you pronounce that. And this is the reason why Joshua circumcised them, all the people who came out of Israel who were males, all the people who came out of Israel who were males, all the men of war died in the wilderness along the way after they came out of Egypt. For all the people who came out were circumcised, but all the people who were born in the wilderness along the way as they'd come out of Egypt had not been circumcised. So, maybe some crazy things to talk about as we talk about preparation, but I want you to think about these two events and where they take place in the life of the children of Israel in the leadership of Joshua. The first one, Joshua chapter 3, Joshua says to the nation of Israel, consecrate yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do great works among you. And if you're familiar with Joshua chapter 4, you know that in Joshua chapter 4, the children of Israel crossed the Jordan into the promised land. The walls of the Jordan were walled up. The priests took the Ark of the Covenant into the middle of the river. The people crossed on dry land. The Lord waited till every single person got across the Jordan, and then the water continued to flow freely. But before this could happen, and here's the key thought, in preparation, Joshua ordered the nation of Israel to consecrate themselves. Now that's a big churchy word. What does it mean? Probably throughout the camp there were rest, like the idea of a Sabbath. Probably, maybe there were ritualistic washings, but most importantly, I guess you would say they intentionally pointed their hearts and their minds towards the Lord. They were preparing themselves. They were getting ready for what God would do in them and through them the next day, crossing the Jordan on dry land. And that's a pretty good picture of preparing, but the other one is a very drastic picture of preparation. In Joshua chapter 5, the children of Israel has crossed the Jordan. They're on the other side of the Jordan, and they're within the shadows of Jericho. And Jericho's the next main big city, and we all know the battle plan for attacking the city of Jericho and all the things that the Lord would do there. But before all this would begin, they needed to be circumcised. And, we won't go into all the details of what circumcised means, but it was a sign between God and Abraham of the covenant that he had made with Abraham, cutting around. This was a big deal because these weren't children. These weren't 8-year-old boys. These were grown men who had wandered in the wilderness. And I love what the Bible said. The previous generation failed to be obedient and failed to prepare them, failed to circumcise them. And so before they could move on with what the Lord had for them and all the things that would happen as they were inhabiting the promised land, they all needed to be circumcised. And you talk about drastic preparation. I mean, that's big time, And so, as the Bible tells us, they had to rest a few days and get ready to take the city of Jericho because they were all hurting. So, big time to say the least. But you think about that and what that means for us today. Sometimes we need to do little things to prepare. Sometimes we just need to change our heart, change our mind, or point our heart in a direction, point our mind in a direction, get rid of all the buzz in our world and focus our heart and mind on the Lord. Sometimes we do need to be washed baptism and the different things. Sometimes we need to do other things to consecrate ourselves. But sometimes to prepare for the big things that the Lord has for us, we need to do drastic things. Myself and our walk with the Lord, that has included moving different places, moving away from different people, changing vocations, changing schools, changing majors. I mean, these aren't physical things like circumcision, but they were drastic, trajectory changing ideas in my life. So, think about that, and as you prepare for what the Lord has for you next, what might the Lord be calling you to do? Maybe there are some small changes that you need to make in preparation for what the Lord has for you next. And maybe there's some bigger changes. Maybe there's some drastic changes that you need to make to prepare for what the Lord has for you next. That's my encouragement for you today. Whether we're preparing our little slice of creation, or we're cultivating creation, or we're cultivating the pinnacle of creation, we need to be obedient and follow the Lord. And a lot of times that looks like preparation. We need to prepare for what the Lord has for us next, whether that's preparing in the summer for deer season in the fall, or preparing for one season for the next season the Lord has for our life, preparing for the Jordan or for Jericho like the children of Israel. So hope this is an encouragement to you today. I hope you're doing what you need to do today to be successful this deer season. I hope you're doing what you need to do today to be successful for the next season of your life. Hey, if I can be a part of that, if I can help, reach out any of the social media platforms. I'd love to serve you in any way. God bless you guys.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us on another day of Cultivating Creation. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.